Hello, I'm Elgato and welcome back to the video. Today something I'm pretty excited to share with all of you because it's something I've wanted to try for a while now, and that is checking out all of the brand new glide maps except in creative. So this is possible because a world download for all of them has been made available. I know most of you can't download maps, so I figured for all of you and for my own curiosity, why not check out all of the maps outside of them, see what it looks like outside the boundaries, which is mostly nothing, but there's also a lot of secrets and stuff found out there that I wanted to check for a while now, and I figured why not get all of our curiosity satisfied in one video. So that's exactly what I'm doing. Hopefully you all do enjoy it. You can like the video if you do like it, because it helps out the channel and lets know you do like this sort of video. But with that said, let's get straight into talking about this first map, which is Kraken. So again, most of you can't download a map, I get that, but the things I think most people are curious about when it comes to Kraken is the kind of, the way the map is laid out, which first of all is a very, very big rectangle. Everything is very closely condensed on this map, so right next to the spawn, you can see there's a giant octopus, but there's a few things I was particularly curious about on top of just the general shape, and the first one is behind the spawn, because if you don't know, when you're playing, the map by itself, you spawn facing this way, and turning around is tricky, but you can do it, and there's even water here to help you. And interestingly enough, there is actually blocks different on the main map than to here. These blocks behind there are invisible on the main map, but here you can actually see they're just filled in with loads of random blocks, which makes me realize that they're invisible when you play them normally. A very, very strange phenomenon, and that's just a little thing right there. So yeah, by the way, in case you're curious, like, oh yeah, maybe that's someone who put up these blocks afterwards, bear in mind this has to be the genuine map because it's only been a few days. Like, no one could have made all of this by hand. It's all legit the same stuff. So yeah, with that said, another thing I was curious about is some of the doors at the spawn, and they do unfortunately not go anywhere. So you're like, oh, is there something here? No, there's not. And the dispensers on here, you might figure, why would they be dispensers if they're not actually doing anything? But no, there's nothing in the dispensers, at least that I can tell of. So yeah, for the most part, there's just a bunch of like empty doors around here, which was kind of a bummer until I found the second section when I realized, ooh, that's a cool little secret. So yeah, basically if you head to the, I guess it's like the third section on the map itself, there's this interesting part of the map that you could theoretically get to and make the ultimate shortcut. Again, it would require a lot of skill, and I'm not sure if it is physically possible, but I tried a few times, and you can get very close to going through this hole in the wall here. So if you can go up to here, which again is kind of tricky because you have to use this glider and kind of force yourself all the way upwards, but it is possible to go inside this tower. And if you could go inside this tower and follow this little doorway, again, you can go past this bounds in the game itself, and then you just follow this little hole in the ground down. There's a secret kind of built into the map. That's right, there's a trench here which the game almost wants you to use. Like, again, it just looks like it's designed that way. There's a trench here which can take you all the way to this section of the map. Again, you won't be able to get a time on the leaderboards for doing this because there's now a requirement where you have to pass every checkpoint, but it's still kind of amazing to me the fact that there is a shortcut this good, and indeed the fact that they built this little castle on the hill that no one can see, sadly, but it is, it's something that exists, and it's right behind here. Again, I feel like this is something that most people don't even see the edge of, like the core thing like that, but there's a castle on both sides that they did go through the effort of building. You just can't see it for the most part. And another thing that you might not realize, until, because again, it's a really, really subtle thing, but it's something that I was like, ooh, that's kind of a, that's interesting that you might not figure, is the fact that if you go to this, wooden ship over here, if you look out the sides of the wooden ship through these, leaf blocks, you can see this is actually the ship from earlier. So you loop around and then you go back through that ship later. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just a random boat, but it is a way, you go above and below this whole thing. And I just think that's kind of interesting how they, they link the map together. I thought it was impressive, and I thought maybe you would too. So yeah, by the way, I left fire spreads on for a bit, so lots of stuff is destroyed. That is, for the most part, the crazy interesting stuff about this map that you can find from the outside. I think, the fact that everything's so close together is kind of mind-blowing. Like, oh, if you could just find a way to get over these trees, you would be able to go straight to this part of the map, right near the end. Sorry, right near the start, I guess that'd be. And it's kind of interesting to me how close everything actually is. A thing you might not realize is there is a giant volcano. I thought it was a well-designed volcano, and I really like the way it all came together because, it does functionally make sense that you fly into it, and then, I thought that was great that the volcano is the bit of the map you fly around. And then finally, the last, thing that I wanted to check out was the battle map, because I had a few people tell me that maybe they left some of the holes in from the previous thing. As you can see right here, if you look, so here's the here's the Kraken from earlier. So we go backwards, and yeah, this is the battle map. Of course, it's a bit burnt down. Just again, a bit better in mind. That's just sometimes fire spread like that. But yeah, the interesting thing about this is that they actually cut off these caves right here. So where the hole in the ceiling should be, like a secret way out of the map that maybe you could fly through. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist right here. And even if you break through the cave, they've just replaced it with solid stone. the best I can tell, which is sad, but it looks like, I mean, it makes sense that they did that. So yeah, that's on both sides too. There's a cabin over here, also hidden away, but everything else about these little houses and stuff, like the chests and whatnot, they have seemed to be ported over, which I thought was a nice little attention to detail thing. The chests don't contain things, and, you know, that's, I think that makes sense, because you wouldn't want people to have stuff, but still, it's interesting that they did take all of this stuff over, and this is the first, you know, map, which is Kraken. Let's move on to the second. So this is Yeti, the second of the, you know, the new glide maps, and this one is one where I feel like everyone had the same idea of, like, that Yeti mouth has to contain some secret. There is something in that that has to be found, and I was, you know, I was on the same side too. I was like, there's gotta be something, maybe you fly at this at just the right angle, or you go down, but no, the Yeti mouth, I think it's like, it would be a great opportunity for something, but nothing's actually done with it, and just kind of prove that, let's punch through the mouth here, because you go straight to the other side, you know, not even like a big block of nothing, and here you can see what the other side of the Yeti face looks like. So yeah, that's Yeti, sadly. I love the Yetis, you know, they look like, I think they are just theming, they're not this like grand conspiracy you can use in somewhere or another. This map, in case you're curious, is this giant square. It's much bigger, physically speaking, than the other map, and also, you know, this map is also a great example of like very strange custom terrain they used, because you can see how they've clearly set the map to be, you know, set up like a tiger, so it'll snow and stuff like that will happen, but it's really bizarre to me because if we go near the ground, again, these maps are so giant, like they really stress the 360, you can see how like it's mostly covered in snow, right, but every now and then there's parts where it just gets really patchy, which is a little bit bizarre, and then you find bits like this where like I'm not even sure why, like there's random shadows on the ground and then there's nothing above it, which is a little bit strange. Then you can also see there's like where it gets patchy like this, and it's like how does that happen exactly? And yeah, these are questions I don't know the answer to. It's just something that I found a little bit weird. Also a thing about this map, because packed ice, if I'm, you know, to stop it from melting, I guess, they placed, you know, loads of gold blocks below it, and they placed everything on top of that. Or is it packed ice that you can't place on top of other blocks? We'll quickly you this one for sure. No, you can place packed ice inside stuff. So I guess they placed the gold blocks first and then like kind of worked up from there. It's a little bit strange, but most of the map has this gold layer underneath it, which might be a pro tip for everyone to keep in mind. Then we've got some sea lanterns over here. And you might have also noticed that just before, there was this random diamond block sticking out the edge. There's a few, you know, weirdities about this map that are like, from the outside, you're not ever meant to see, but you can see nonetheless, and they're a little bit confusing. Like, again, what? Why is there a random diamond block here? But yeah, I guess it's just a small thing, but I found that to be just a little bit interesting. So yeah, that is the map in general, as you can see looking around it. There's a bunch of Yetis. None of them have any, you know, cool secrets found inside. I was really hoping that, like, secretly one of them would or something, but unfortunately that's not the case. But one thing I think is, you know, definitely interesting, and more so than you might figure, is at the very end of the map, which I think I'm going the wrong way for. Yep, that's definitely the case. At the very end of the map, which is just over here, you can see how there's a bunch of houses when you're playing normally, but you can't open the doors to them if you're playing in Glide, because in Glide, you can't open doors, you can't open fences. It's a sad ordeal, right? Oh, I don't need to make my own bed, because these houses, on the inside, they're fully fledged things. Sometimes. I don't know why sometimes not. But that means that we can sleep in their bed. And the thing about these being houses is they're actually really amazingly designed houses, in my opinion. Like, I think this is a great compact... Oh, we fell through the roof. I think this is a great compact house design. And also, apparently, a house if you want to spawn on the roof of. It's got some benefits. But yeah, as you can see, it's a compact house. I do think it's rather interesting in that way. I really love the design of it. Like, it's a great little igloo house. And yeah, all of these have the exact same thing. Even the ones with closed doors, like this one here. As you can see, same thing. Really, I don't know why, but I really like the way this whole thing's designed. And it just, it's a little bit inspiring to me at least. And I figure maybe it's the same to some of you. Obviously, a lot of these houses are just nothing on the inside. So this one is just a kind of dugout hole, which leads you to the edge of the map for some reason. But yeah, for the most part, they are just like, oh, and then you can see back here, there's the back of the skull. For the most part, they are just empty on the inside. But every now and then, there are houses where you can see into the inside, and I think that's pretty great. And again, I just figured that was something cool about this map worth sharing. The insides of the houses aren't just like empty like they were on Kraken. They have real things going on there. So finally, let's go on to the third map, the one I was perhaps most curious about, because it is, because on this map, there isn't really too much besides like, there's not real things inside the Yetis. There's weird gaps in the map. There's weird things being placed everywhere. And also, the run at the start, I should mention, is especially long, and that's kind of that. But yeah, besides the fact that there's like a few weird things about this map, and it's like, ooh, so wacky. Let's move on to the next map, the one I'm most curious about, because it had those like weird, you know, clouds above the, it had those weird clouds above the start, and I wanted to, above the end, and I wanted to go check out what they're all about. So that's what we're doing right now. So this is the final map from the brand new track pack, and it is Dragons. So Dragon, I mean, you can work out the names based on the dragons, but the thing I get mostly curious about when I see this spawn is like, wow, this area, it's so, you know, intricately designed and so amazingly designed, and then it also makes me everything, like what's the deal with the end? And these two things actually link in together suspiciously closely. So yeah, it's worth mentioning that you know, these clouds really only exist so that, you know, like the inside looks like you're in the sky, because that's where you are. And this is something they took from the Chinese mythology mashup pack. And what they just did is they made you know, because they designed the map where it's like it's T-shape, I guess, so you go along here, then you go back, and then you go along there, etc. To basically make the map look pretty from the outside, because they needed to not cover this up. What they just did is they covered the entire walls of the map, something you'd never usually be able to see. They just covered it with wind, and that kind of makes it just about make sense. And again, from down here, you know, it doesn't really look too much, but yeah, you look up and you just see a bunch of you know, wind with some trees above it, because they forgot to cover some of the trees up, it seems, and that is the reason for that. So I thought it'd be some cool story, like, oh, there's a giant island up there, but the island up there is actually the spawn area, and that's something which you might not have figured. So yeah, it's also worth mentioning that the dragons, I mean, every single one of them, you look at them, they're amazing. A part of me had fun just like literally climbing up the horns of this thing, because oh, sorry, I guess it'd be the nostrils or whatever that stuff is, the smoke that comes out of there. I found that to be a lot of fun personally, and maybe you want to do that too. But yeah, if you want to live the experience passively through me, very, very fun, would totally recommend. And yeah, if you want to build a dragon, I think looking at this map and getting a feel for it is good in that way. I think like the build quality on this map is a lot better. The you know, the level of like amazing secrets found within it isn't quite as high, although yeah, again, there's potential for shortcuts, even though they won't properly work, because there's a lot of parts of the map where you just go over a wall and you reach into another part. Like literally from the spawn, if you could just somehow find a way to climb over this wall. Again, it's not possible because there's a ceiling. But if somehow you could just go over these trees right here and then over to there, or even, you know, this block right there. Let's say you can somehow float up to here, go through this little hole in the trees. Let's say you glide through that. Then what you can do is you can immediately get down to the finish line. So again, it's not going to lag to finish the game and get a leaderboard time, but at some point there'll be some amazing exploit that allows you to do that, that literally allows you to get like a 20-second time. And I look forward to someone working that out, even though it won't let you finish the game. Again, it's not going to be official, nothing like that, but it will totally be figured out, I reckon, potentially anyway. Although, you know, maybe 4J got a bit better since the first map, but that's a cool thing there. So, other than that, because the inside of buildings is sometimes interesting, there isn't really too much to be said here, because this is mostly taken from the Chinese mythology mashup pack. If you look inside the buildings, you know, there's nothing really too much going on here, about what you'd expect from a building with transparent doors, and yeah, that's, again, there's not really so much you can say besides, oh yeah, everything is about what you'd expect here, except the giant wall, which is not quite as exciting as you expect, but I guess that's the price you pay. Oh no, there's a few missing chunks over here, which is a little bit bizarre to me. The fact that it's just like, oh yeah, we made some chunks go missing here, and then if you look down here, they were clearly building something that never went anywhere. This is like just, this is what the old boundaries of the city used to be, well, I guess apparently, because it just goes all the way around, and none of it is ever seen by the player. There's just an old set of walls that they just built over for the new ones, but it's something you can see if you're still doing this. Or, in theory, apparently, okay, no, there's just a random cave here. Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting that they used to have walls, and then they figured out, actually, let's try that again, and they made much bigger walls, and that's something you might not spot otherwise unless you see that. But yeah, besides that, none of the houses have like crazy cool secrets in, like, oh, if you go in here, you just find stairs. So yeah, just something worth mentioning. Hope you all enjoyed today's video. Like if you did like it, because it helps out the channel a lot. Let us know you do like dragons and seeing outside these maps. Share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you very much for watching. I want there to be some amazing secret, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.